The drawer stayed closed for many days. But her heart did not. Every morning she woke before sunrise, made tea for one, and stood near the same window where the letter had been written. She watched people hurry to work, parents walking children to school, young couples laughing without knowing how fragile life could be. She wondered if her son was awake too, if he had eaten breakfast, if anyone reminded him to take a jacket when mornings felt cold. She almost called him so many times. Her fingers would hover over his name on the phone. Her breath would pause, and then she would place the phone back on the table. She did not want to disturb his new life. She did not want to sound lonely. She did not want him to feel guilty. So she stayed quiet. Silence became her language. When he was small, he used to run into her arms after school, tell her every detail of his day, show her scraped knees and crooked drawings. Now their conversations were short. "Hello, Mom. I am busy. I will call later." Later rarely came. She told herself this was how growing works. Children leave and mothers learn how to let go. But letting go felt nothing like peace. It felt like standing in an empty room listening for footsteps that never arrived. She remembered the nights she worked until her hands went numb. She remembered carrying groceries and exhaustion up narrow stairs. She remembered helping him with homework while fighting sleep. She had believed all of it would bring them closer. She had believed love always returned in the same shape it was given. One afternoon she took the letter out again. She sat on the edge of her bed, held the envelope against her chest, and closed her eyes. She imagined his face as a little boy, the way he used to smile with missing teeth, the way he called her mama when storms scared him. Her tears soaked the corner of the paper. She added a few more lines. She wrote that she never regretted choosing him over everything else, that she would do it again without hesitation, that even if the world misunderstood her choices she never did. She wrote that strength does not always shout. Sometimes it whispers while washing dishes. Sometimes it hides behind tired eyes. Sometimes it walks quietly into night shifts so children can dream. She wanted him to know this. She wanted him to understand. But she still did not send it. Because fear lived beside love. Fear that he might read it quickly. Fear that he might not reply. Fear that he might not understand how deep her words were. That evening he finally called. His voice sounded rushed. Traffic noise in the background. A life moving faster than hers. He said he was doing well. He said work was busy. He said he would visit soon. She said she was fine. She said take care. She said she was proud of him. She did not mention the letter. After the call she sat in the dark living room, holding the phone long after the screen went black. She realized something then. Sometimes children grow into adults who forget the weight their mothers carried. Not because they are cruel, but because they never had to feel it. She stood up slowly, walked to the drawer, placed the letter back inside, and whispered, one day you will understand." Outside the streetlights came on. Inside her heart another quiet evening began. The distance between them was not measured in kilometers. It was measured in unsent words, unspoken memories, and a letter waiting for courage. And somewhere deep inside her, she felt that this story was not finished yet. Not even close. Winter arrived quietly. The kind of winter that does not announce itself with storms, only with longer nights and colder mornings. She began wearing his old sweater around the house, not because it was warm, but because it still carried a faint memory of him. Every room held pieces of her past. The kitchen where she once packed his lunches. The hallway where she measured his height every year. The small corner where his school bag used to rest. Now those spaces echoed. Friends told her to travel, to join community groups, to start new hobbies. She smiled and nodded. But grief does not leave just because someone suggests it. Grief waits patiently inside quiet homes. One afternoon she found an old photo album. She sat on the floor turning pages slowly. There he was on his first birthday with cake on his face. There he was learning to ride a bicycle while she ran behind him. There he was graduating standing tall while she stood smaller beside him pretending not to cry. She traced her finger over every picture. She remembered every sacrifice. Every missed celebration, every night shift, every promise she made to herself. She had given him her youth, her strength, her reputation, her comfort. And she had done it willingly. Still, there were moments when loneliness felt heavier than pride. That evening she started writing again. Not another letter. Just small notes in a notebook. Things she wished she had said. I am proud of you even when you forget to call. I forgive you for being busy. I hope someone reminds you to rest. She wrote about the day he left home. How she stood in the doorway smiling while her heart collapsed quietly. How she waited until his car disappeared before letting herself cry. She wrote about learning how to eat dinner alone. How to sleep without listening for his footsteps. How to pretend strength when neighbors asked about him. Then something unexpected happened. A message appeared on her phone. It was from him. Mom, I found something today while cleaning my old room at your place. Her hand started shaking. He continued. I found a folded paper inside one of my old books. I think it is yours. Her breath stopped. The letter. Her heart began pounding like it had forgotten how to be calm. She stared at the screen afraid of what would come next. Minutes passed. Then another message arrived. Mom, I read it. She sat down slowly. Her body felt light and heavy at the same time. He wrote again. I did not know you felt all this. I did not know how much you carried. I thought you were always strong. Tears rolled down her face. Not loud tears. Quiet ones. The kind that fall without sound. He said, I am sorry for the days I forgot to call. I am sorry for thinking love did not need attention. I am sorry for being busy with life and missing your heart. She pressed the letter against her chest again. This time it did not feel like a burden. Felt like release. He sent one more message. I am coming this weekend. She closed her eyes. For the first time in a long while. Her home did not feel empty. She realized something important. Letters do not always need stamps. Some find their way through time, through memory, through love that refuses to disappear. And as she waited for the weekend, she knew the hardest part of her story was almost over, but the most meaningful moment was still ahead. She woke early that Saturday. The house felt different. Not louder, not brighter, just fuller. She cleaned rooms that were already clean, straightened cushions that did not need straightening, placed fresh flowers on the table even though she rarely bought flowers for herself. Her hands kept moving. Her heart stayed still. Every sound outside made her look toward the window. When his car finally appeared at the end of the street, her breath caught in her chest. She stood in the doorway the same way she had years ago, on the day he first left home. Only this time she did not pretend strength. She let herself feel everything. He stepped out carrying a small bag. Looking older, taller, more tired but still her son. They stood for a moment unsure who should move first. Then he walked toward her. She opened her arms. He folded into them. Not like a grown man. Like a child returning to safety. They did not speak. They did not need to. Some emotions do not require words. Inside the house they sat together on the couch, their shoulders touching. The silence warm instead of empty. He reached into his bag and pulled out the folded paper. The letter. He placed it gently on the table between them. I kept it, he said softly. She nodded. He told her how he read it 3 times. How every line felt heavier than the last. How he finally understood why she never complained. Why she always smiled even when tired. Why she never asked for anything. She listened quietly. Then she spoke. Not loudly. Not dramatically. She told him she never wrote it to make him feel guilty. She wrote it because sometimes mothers need somewhere to put their love when their children grow too far away. She told him she was proud of the man he had become. Even on the days he forgot her. Even on the days life moved too fast. He held her hand. He said he thought strength meant being loud. Winning arguments. Being seen. Now he understood. Her strength had been silent. But it had built his entire world. They cooked dinner together that evening. Simple food. Warm soup. Fresh bread. They laughed about old memories. Talked about his work. About her garden. About nothing important and everything meaningful. Before he left the next morning, he hugged her again. Longer this time. He promised to call more. To visit when he could. To remember that love needs presence, not just intention. She watched his car disappear down the road. But this time she did not feel empty. She felt peaceful because the letter she never meant to send had finally been received. Not through mail. Not through envelopes. Through truth. Through time. Through a heart that finally listened. And she understood something she wished every parent knew. Sometimes children grow away. But love has a way of finding its way back. And sometimes the quietest stories leave the deepest echoes. This is a deeply emotional story about a mother who carries years of unspoken love inside her heart. Letter she never sent to her son follows her memories, regrets, sacrifices, and silent prayers as she tries to find peace with everything left unsaid. Across 4 parts we will discover why the letter was written, what kept it hidden, and how love can survive even when words never reach their destination. If you enjoy powerful real-life inspired stories about family sacrifice and unconditional love, please subscribe to this channel and support our journey. Your support helps these stories reach hearts that need them. Now I start the story. She wrote the letter on a quiet Sunday morning. The house was finally still. No footsteps running across the floor. No school bags thrown near the door. No voices asking what was for dinner. Only silence and the soft ticking of the clock. She sat at the small wooden table near the window, holding a pen that felt heavier than it should have felt. Outside the sky was pale blue and the world looked peaceful. Inside her chest everything felt crowded. She folded a clean sheet of paper carefully, smoothed it with her palm, and whispered his name like a prayer. Her son. She had practiced these words in her heart for years. But saying them out loud had always been harder. So she decided to write, "Dear my beautiful boy." Her hand paused. Tears filled her eyes before she could even finish the first line. She had raised him alone since he was 6. Back when his father walked away without looking back. Back when she learned how strong a woman becomes when there is no other choice. She worked long hours. Sometimes 2 jobs. Sometimes night shifts that left her bones aching and her eyes burning. She missed school plays. She missed football matches. She missed birthdays more than once. But she never missed packing his lunch. Never missed leaving notes in his backpack. Never missed whispering blessings while he slept. He grew up fast. Too fast. By the time he was 18, he already carried a quiet distance in his eyes. He spoke less. Smiled less. Stayed out later. She told herself it was normal. That boys become men. That children learn to walk away. Still something inside her felt unfinished. The letter was meant to say everything she never managed to explain. That she was sorry for the nights he ate dinner alone. Sorry for the days she came home too tired to listen. Sorry for the times she raised her voice when she should have held him closer. She wanted to tell him that every sacrifice had his future written on it. That every tear she wiped away was for his dreams. That every tired morning began with his name in her heart. She wrote slowly. She told him how proud she was. How she kept his childhood drawings in a box under her bed. How she still remembered the way he used to fall asleep on her shoulder during bus rides. She told him that even when he stopped calling, even when weeks passed without a message, she never stopped waiting. Mothers do not stop waiting. They wait in quiet kitchens. They wait beside cold phones. They wait with warm memories and tired hands. When she finished writing, she folded the paper neatly, placed it in an old envelope, and wrote his name on the front. Her fingers trembled. She opened the drawer beside the table, placed the letter inside, and closed it softly. She told herself she would send it tomorrow. But tomorrow became next week. Next week became next month. Life continued. He moved to another city, found work, built a life that no longer had space for long phone calls. And the letter stayed in the drawer. Every now and then she would open it, touch the envelope, and whisper his name again. She was waiting for the right moment. Waiting for courage. Waiting for a sign. She did not know yet that some letters are not meant to travel through mail. Some letters live forever in the heart. And this one was only at the beginning of its journey.